Sync. Okay, so a lot of the time when I end up speaking to my family and my non-vegan friends about veganism, the last line of defense is always, oh yeah, well, it's all personal choice really, or live and let live, or well, that's your opinion, but you really have to respect other people's opinions and way of life. And besides the pretty apparent irony of an animal eater saying live and let live or respect life, it's genuinely one of the most annoying things to hear, because it's essentially saying, yeah, well, you've made good points and I can't refute any of them, but I don't really want to think about it and be held accountable to my action, so this way I can continue with my destructive habits. Eating animals and their secretions has a pretty clear victim: the animal themselves. It's just that they're kept and killed in the countryside, miles away from where a lot of people live, mutilated to the point where they don't even really look like animals, and then put in a package with a quaint picture of a family farm on the front, and then sent miles away to people who have never actually seen living farm animals unless they're driving through the countryside, because I genuinely cannot remember any time that I've ever seen a living pig. It all shows that there's so many different layers of disconnect there, and it's why people hate slaughterhouse footage so much, because they're suddenly confronted with the victims of their personal choice. In reality, personal choice only applies when you're making a choice that only affects you personally. That's what makes it a personal choice. Say like what colour t-shirt you want to wear, or if you have any tattoos. Both of those are personal choices because they only affect you personally. Now I think that people would think I was pretty crazy if I walked into the middle of town, I just punched a random guy in the face, and then once he got angry at me, I was like, whoa man, calm down, you gotta respect my personal choice. So maybe you heard that and you thought, yeah, well, you can't equate human and animal suffering. Whilst I disagree with you, and I think that's awfully speciesist of you. So let's imagine again that I walk into the centre of town and I see a 6-month-old Labrador, and I just kick that dog in the face. And then when that dog's human got angry at me, I was like, whoa man, it's my personal choice, live and let live, you gotta respect my opinions, you can't tell me what to do. Okay, so maybe you heard that and you thought, yeah, well Lewis, well both of those are illegal, and you wouldn't be wrong, but that just points out a fault in the law. There's no money to be made in punching people in the face and kicking dogs. However, there's a lot of money to be made in breeding animals into existence, exploiting their reproductive systems, killing them young, and then selling them to people who have grown up in a world that is completely blind to animal exploitation. There's a pretty infamous example of something that was once a very profitable and convenient industry and is now seen as abhorrent: slavery. But because it was so profitable and convenient to have slaves, it remained legal until there was a growing social pressure against it, and it's the same with women's suffrage. Saying that denying women the vote or keeping slaves was a personal choice would be seen as a pretty awful thing to say now, and I agree, but both of those things were legal at the time in the same way that animal farming and killing is legal now. Issues of injustice should always be looked at from the victim's perspective, and in this case it's the animals. Do you really think that if these animals could talk to us in the same way that we can talk to each other, that they would just be like, oh no, it's okay, don't worry about it, I respect your personal choice to pay for me, my family, my friends to be killed. Oh no, who am I to tell you how to live? I have to respect your opinion. No, of course not, that would be ridiculous. They would speak up in the same way that oppressed groups have spoken up in the past. So maybe you'll still eat animals and you'll still pay for them to be killed for your own personal pleasure, but you cannot keep passing it off as personal choice. And you cannot fairly expect vegans to abide by live and let live when we see the victim on your plate, because it's not a respectable decision when it's in direct opposition of what we stand for. Because you need to understand that every time you buy an animal product, you're paying for the next animal to be killed. You are adding to the demand, and so the suppliers will give you the supply. Well, I hope that didn't come across as too angry, but if it makes just one person understand the consequences of their choices, it's probably worth it. This probably won't be my most viewed video, but it's probably my most important one. If you agreed with me, or you disagreed with me, or I made you see something in a new light, leave a comment in the comment section down below the video. If you're more subtle than that, you can leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And this has been a Bro Curly video, and I'll talk to you next time.